Okay, great. Before we get into your story, I just want to touch on this one really, really quick.
Yep.
It's from Prince Edward Island, a place with more senators than people, more representation in the Senate than anywhere else per capita in the country. Because why? Because you're liberal. Women's pro disc golf event in PEI canceled over sports policy on trans athletes. It's very much saying this sport is not inclusive of anyone but cis men. I'm not sure that's what's happening here, because I think they're doing it to protect the women. The Disc Golf Pro Tour has scrapped its women's division at an event scheduled to take place on Prince Edward Island over concerns with the sports policy on trans athletes. Several hundred competitors from around the world were set to compete in Rose Valley PEI this September in Canada's first professional disc golf tournament. And then the trans activists ruined everything for everybody. But tour organizers announced over the weekend that the women's division was being canceled in PEI in several U.S. states. The decision follows 2 lawsuits in the U.S. by Natalie Ryan, a transgender female disc golfer who is no longer eligible to play under new rules issued by the Professional Disc Golf Association. Actually, I don't think that's true. I don't think it's not that she's ineligible to play. She's just ineligible to play with the women. She should be playing with the biological men. Competitive fairness is the underpinning of the Disc Golf Pro Tour, the professional disc golf industry, and all of elite competitive sport worldwide, CEO Jeff Spring said in a written statement. We will not waver in the PDGA gender eligibility policy. That said, I want to affirm the concept that you can simultaneously respect and support transgender people and support competitive fairness. These are not mutually exclusive concepts, and that DGPT will continue to show respect for all people involved while thinking creatively about long-term solutions for this challenging issue. So basically, this person wants to play and compete unfairly against the women, and the tour said, no, that's not fair. So we're not going to run an unfair event. We're just not going to have an event where you are obviously going to win because you're competing against people who are smaller, have smaller bone structure, smaller cardiovascular system, smaller heart capacity, lung capacity, all those things. Way lower testosterone levels, smaller muscle mass. He just said, to protect the fairness of the sport, we can't run as a competition where you are playing in the women's division. And apparently that is somehow, according to the activists, unfair.
But I'm sorry, but this individual, if he
my
God. I was saying, like, if that individual really wants to play, it will go to the men league. It's just because he know that he will lose in the men's league, and he have maybe a chance to compete with the woman and won. But this man, it's not a woman. I'm sorry. I'm actually like really in shock. I'm really in shock right now. I'm sorry.
You know what? This is the part that really bothers me. I'm a woman. I've been a woman my whole life. Alexa, you're a woman. You've been a woman your whole life. Growing your hair long,
despite that doesn't define you.
Despite your male pattern baldness, and putting on a dress does not wave a magic wand and magically turn you into a woman. I'm sorry. And Andrea McPherson, that person right there, argues that it's fine for men to compete against women in our sports because elite swimmers like Michael Phelps are better than the men that they compete against. So why can't men who are better than the women that they compete against women? So elite athletes like swimmer Michael Phelps and NBA basketball players benefit from a different kind of genetic advantage all the time. Mm-hmm. So why even bother to try to make it fair? Good argument, my dude.
But actually, when you look at this individual, it doesn't at least take the time to at least look a little bit feminine. It's just like, put his hair long and pretend that he is a woman. At least like you do a small effort to be a little bit like feminine.
This is insulting. Like this is just
it is.
like an absolute insult. I don't know. I don't know how feminists put up with this. I have no idea. I don't know. It's just an absolute mockery. And just what a joke. What a joke. And you know what? Good for the disc golf people. And if there are female athletes who are disappointed, take it up with the dude, because the disc golf people were trying to protect you from this. And apparently you can't. You just can't in Canada. I'm sorry. We should bump ahead to your story, because I've got a meeting to jump into after this, after we do the live stream. And it's okay. I'm happy to be busy. I'm happy to be home for a little bit. Let's talk about the story of the kid who now faces criminal charges for removing an LGBTQ plus flag in school. 16-year-old kid from Montreal, May 16th. He's facing criminal charges. They're criminalizing what I think is a pretty minor event. And I don't think he would face charges if he took down a Canadian flag.
I don't think so. But the thing is, like, I was talking with the mom and the son, and they were a little bit like concerned, because now these criminal charges can like follow him for his adult life, and especially because they didn't mention, nobody like did really look into the fact that he was the first one to be aggressed by a group of individuals from the LGBTQ community when they tried to rip off the crosses in his neck, and afterwards it was like, okay, they insult him in his religion. And after that, it should be like, fine with that, forget about it, and just say, blah, they can be irrespectful to me. Anyway, like they have like a overprotection because they are from the LGBTQ community. I'm sorry, but respect needs to be earned, as you say. And unfortunately, they didn't earn the respect. It's actually the opposite. So it's just why it never bothered with them. They say that I usually, ignore them because they are not my friend, but like we live in the same like school anyway. Like we are just different people, different vision, different ideology. But when they cross the line to rip off his cross that represents his religion, they say, why do I would tolerate your flag when you not even tolerate my religion and myself?
Because they don't want tolerance. They want affirmation. They want you to agree with them. It's not enough that you put up with them. They want you to confess ideological fealty to their little flag. And where's the hate crime charges against them for assaulting this young man based on his religion? Nothing, right?
Nothing. And he received already sanction from the school that changed multiple times. And afterwards, they received a month after the incident, a call from the Sûreté du Québec. And I reached out to the Sûreté du Québec and I asked, like, who did the complaint? Can we know? And it seems like nobody complained about them. Nobody have called the Sûreté du Québec. It's just the Sûreté du Québec took that incident, went to see the DPCP, and they just decided together that they will charge them and open like a folder to 6 teenagers involved. And we see in the video, there are more than 6, but they target 6 individuals between 13 years old and 16 years old, just because it's probably going with the narrative that everybody needs to comply or look at this example of these young teenagers, what they are facing right now. So sorry for this English, but shut up and comply.
Yeah. And, the amount of adults who are not speaking out on behalf of these kids, even if you're on the other side of this, they probably should have just called this a wash. he pulled down their flag after they attacked him on the basis of his religion. Call it a wash. But no, only one of them is getting criminal charges. So we understand who is higher on the totem pole of civil liberties in this country, and it's not Christians, as depicted in our documentary Church Under Fire. That's absolutely true.
Yeah, and I would say, like, for the other family, if they want to reach out to me, because now there are 6 different family, and I know that some of them are Muslim, and I know that a lot of Muslim feel like that their government like forget about them. So if you want to reach out to me, go ahead and write to me at alexadra@rebelnews.com, and I will keep you under confidentiality if you prefer that, because I understand what can be the consequences afterwards.
Yeah, these people will ruin your life. They'll make sure that you are harassed, that you can't be in public, that you can't have a job, that you can't feed your family, that you can't live in peace, all because you just disagree with them. Like I said, it's not about tolerance. It's about agreeing. Because if you tolerated somebody else's views and they had nothing to do with you, you would just leave them alone. But that's not what's happening here.